Oh, it's really loud.
How about now?
Yeah, why do we get an echo? Oh, I know why. Because Michael has his computer on.
Fixed.
There
It's
you
fixed.
go. It's all Michael's fault. See,
I muted it.
if something goes wrong,
You know,
not my fault. Not ever. Not ever my fault. Just kidding. I usually take all the blame all the time. I'm used to it.
even when
It's fine. I can lift a lot of things on my shoulders. Yeah, let's go. Bring it. Disclaimer, as always, this is a fun podcast, and we just do this for fun because we like to talk about markets. We like to talk about things that are going on and what's happening, and none of our stuff that we say should be taken as a financial advice. So, make your own choices, make your own decisions, and have fun. That's what we're doing. So go away with that guy. I'm just going to go quick into kind of looking at the markets in general, just to talk about some stuff. And then we're going to go into a little bit of I don't know. Michael's going to go into a diatribe on futures and options and some crazy stuff.
just some real basics, not too deep at all.
Yeah. So we'll see how that all pans out. But I mean, when I'm looking at the markets themselves right now, I got to take off some random stuff that I have on here. Everybody's kind of freaking out that we're dipping, but again, just like everything, you can't go up only all the time. You have to have some corrections, and Bitcoin's doing its thing. It's correcting. The 4-hour looks better than the daily. It was a strong 4-hour there. We should probably see a little more movement up, I would guess, by the end of this 4 hours and continue it forward. I would imagine we're going to close the daily a little bit stronger than what we're looking at here. But either way we look at it, I'm not worried about it. Even if we were to correct down into the the 20s, like low 20,000s, it doesn't change what my opinion on what the next level is going to be. I feel the next level that we're going to hit is this 30K range. We've got 31.7. It's a liquidity zone. That's kind of what I'm eyeing for this move. And there's a lot of bears out there that are, they're already touting like, see, I told you it was a dead cat bounce. I'm like, that's the worst dead cat bounce I've ever seen in my life.
That is not a dead cat bounce.
That's it. I mean, you're not getting any liquidity out of this. Like usually you're looking for a dead cat bounce to move yourself higher. So I definitely feel we are still due some movement up, and that's kind of the play I'm doing. That's what I'm looking at. So I haven't sold out anything. I'm still sitting and waiting and letting this trade play out. So you can look at everything else here. We'll come back to the NG1 stuff, but if we look at, let's go to just general kits because you're going to see a similar. Everything's running so slow today. I think it's Michael's fault.
Yeah, probably. It's the supercomputer I'm using. Like 10 years old, my 10-year-old laptop.
This is the weekly. Where's the computer? This is the weekly. I mean, it's running this, W pattern bottom, inverse head and shoulders ish type thing. There's a lot of consolidation and sideways movement from, basically this has been we're almost a year, not quite much, 9 months. What's this coming back to April? Yeah, we're getting close, in that same range. So for me, it's positive and showing that this is kind of breaking out of this downward trend. And again, just like in the fact that we had a very good couple of weeks in the legacy markets, you're going to see a little bit of down. You always got to have some down with up because you got to create liquidity on both ends. So unless you're pumping trillions and trillions of dollars into the market, and so everything is literally buy only, this is what markets look like. You get ups, you get downs. So ride it out and make good choices. So that's kind of where I'm at. I had up here, we were talking last week, I brought it up to Michael, was natural gas, and somebody had mentioned it, is I can't remember what podcast I was listening to, and I hadn't looked at it at all. I hadn't looked at gas until I think last it was 2020, I think, when it went negatives. Right? Isn't that when that was happened?
I forget, something like that. That was the situation where you basically were paid to take oil if you had a futures contract, like one of the expirations. I remember because my father-in-law, who's in, I was like, "Hey, how do I do this? Like, I'll put oil in like my backyard. I'll fill up a swimming pool or something."
Yeah.
You know, and he's like, "Well, there's all these rules around it.
Fill up a swimming pool. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. No,
well, because
and then just drain it out into the rivers. You're fine.
Well, I wouldn't sell it, man. But like, because the thing was, like, there was a moment where you were paid like $50 for gas.
Yeah.
You just had a place to put it.
You had to have a place to put it.
That was legal to put it.
Oh, exactly. That was legal to put it because I'll fill up.
Technically, you can't put it in your backyard.
No, you're not allowed to.
So this was the gas chart, or this is the crude oil, and this is where it went negative in this range. If I was and it was brief. It's on the weekly here, but if we went down on like the hourly, it was just so short. I remember watching this; it was kind of crazy.
It was,
and I mean, this is all driven off of derivatives, right? You have people that are buying and selling futures contracts when they have no clue what the hell is going to go on in the future, right? And some people do; they're following closely, and they should, with world, events that are happening. Obviously, Ukraine and Russia, that stuff that's going on now has a massive effect on things. But there's always different stuff throughout the world that are affecting it, and that's where these people, they make a ton of money, or they lose a ton of money. I mean, they're paying, like you said, literally paying you to take their oil. And then, people, if they really did get into this area down here, I mean, that's a major difference here.
Yeah. That would have been a really good play.
So, again, the NG, the natural gas, people were talking about the natural gas one. So I wanted to check it out. So I sent it in the Discord off to Michael. He did a deep dive. For me, I need to go. It's different. Back it up. Come on. Give me to the NG one. There we go. So for me, I was like, I hadn't even looked at it. I just sent it off to him. I looked at it this morning for the first time. Like, that's the ugliest chart I think I've ever seen.
Right.
But we're coming into a long area of some potential support if you're trading, if there's some validity to the trading, and I don't know how it works in these future markets and stuff like that. I mean, there's some support, years worth of support in this area. But damn, I wouldn't touch that thing with a 10-foot pole the way it looks. So I'm not a knife catcher. I don't try to catch knives. So
right. But I think it's totally agree. But I think we're getting at a pretty interesting spot. I think it was on the weekly. It looks like we're hitting potentially a turning point, potentially support. And so I'm not jumping in yet either. But I'm going to watch this real close the next week or two. And then I've just been learning about futures. I haven't traded futures before, but I have some friends who have. And the main difference between a futures contract versus an options contract is an option. Like if you buy a call, you think it's going up and you want to be able to buy the stock at whatever that price is that you set. But it's an option to do it, where a futures contract, you're agreeing to take it at that price, and you're expecting to be able to get out of the contract for a profit. But if the market goes against you, you could have, massive downside because you can get a lot of leverage with futures. You might pay like 1% of the underlying value to have a futures contract that expires in a week or two. But, if the price moves a lot against you, you're going to be paying magnitudes of dollars more to try and get out of that contract. So it can be dangerous. But then I learned you can do options on futures contracts, and that's gets me a little excited.
Oh, so you want to leverage the leverage? Is that what you're telling me?
Yes.
Yeah.
You can leverage the leverage, but the reason I like it is not the leveraging leverage, although I do like that aspect potentially, but is the ability to limit your downside. I'll be very careful when I do it, but basically, if you're buying a options call, contract on a futures contract, that's at least your maximum loss is whatever you're spending on that. Versus if you're just buying a futures contract, your maximum loss is a whole lot more than that potentially. So be very careful if anybody considers looking into this, because you can get hurt.
Interesting.
Yeah, but
futures.
You can make money too. So,
well, as the DGen in me, I feel like I want to buy options on futures on natural gas.
Yep. Agreed.
Right now.
Agreed. Not yet. Not yet.
1000x leverage.
Yeah,
Let's do
let's
this.
give it a week. Let's make sure that this is a bottom. But I mean, that's the biggest stale red light, the longest stale red light I've seen in a
What's
long,
a stale
long
red
time.
light? Is this a candlestick pattern you're talking about?
Yeah, so I mean, it's just the term I've heard thrown around. I'm not even sure if it's an official term, but it's basically like if you have red candles in a row, like you have 5, 6, 7, it's more likely to turn the other way. And so it's a stale red light, meaning you think it's going to turn green. And it goes the same way when things are running up. We call it a stale green light. If you've had, I think it's 3 or more, it becomes a stale green light, meaning you think that's more likely to come down.
Did I spell stale wrong?
I don't know.
I'm a horrible speller.
What is a stale red light? There's.
Don't
go to the Urban Dictionary. That's probably a bad idea.
I don't see this anywhere on.
Yeah, so maybe it's not an official.
This is Michael's official pattern. So
no, it's not. It's not mine. I mean,
it's nowhere to be found. It's now termed Michael's.
No, it's not. No, it's not mine.
So if you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 red candles in a row, it's the Michael pattern.
There we go. I'll take that one. It's the Michael pattern. It just looks like it wants to find that bottom, and this looks like a doji candle trying to form, but it's early in the week.
Oh, so we're at the beginning of the week.
Yeah, exactly.
A long way to go, dude.
Exactly. But I don't know. I think just going back, looking back at the chart, a lot of consolidation in previous years, going that far back, I think.
But I mean, my question is, why is natural gas so low anyway? I mean, I don't know. In reality, when we're looking at, and I haven't been paying attention, so I shouldn't even be talking about this because, again,
I'm talking
about crypto. But yeah, I'm just going to talk about stuff that I have no clue about. I have no clue. Like the last I heard was prices were so high in like Europe and everywhere else, it cost, like 25% of their income to heat their house. So
yeah,
they were, burning chairs in their living room or something.
Right.
I don't know. That's the last I heard. So when I look at this, I'm like, well, natural gas looks pretty damn low. I don't know why it's so expensive to heat houses.
I think part of it was there was something about there was some LNG plants in Texas that are going to be bringing in a bunch of natural gas into the market. Yeah, just look up Texas. Yeah, see. So I wonder if they're just expecting to see, that kind of equilibrium point. Like we're just going to get a massive shift in the supply, so it's just going to drop that. Yeah. Overall, I don't know though. When you look at it,
guys come in right, and they're like, oh, and this headline right here, it says U.S. natural gas holds near 25-month low on milder February weather forecasts. Like, I highly doubt that it's as low as it is because February is going to be not as cold. I mean,
right.
But it's also Yahoo News. I mean, give me a fucking break. Like you need a narrative and you're just going to play out that narrative. The Texas natural gas plants, like probably exporting a lot more than they normally do, makes more sense to pushing down those prices than anything else. I hate narratives. Like I follow crypto so much that you see these narratives just come out of the blue just to make people feel good because the price is down 2%, or up 2%. It's like, oh yeah, this is why. And it really has nothing to do with it most of the time. So Freeport to restart liquefaction train at Texas LNG export plant. So liquefaction, that's a great term. I know this liquefaction is basically when you have the movement of the ground, it shakes, and you get a lot of time with earthquakes. And so it shakes it so much that it creates this liquid effect to where you think about it when you have like a sand in a box, right? And you have water in there and it might just sit there. And if you shake that box, it shakes everything within it and it allows that liquid to just flow through it. So I'm assuming the liquefaction, and this is just with my geology background from like 20 some odd years ago. Thank you. So if I'm remembering this wrong, don't liquidate me. But it's so I'm imagining that they have some sort of way that they're vibrating the to then which moves the natural gas out of that vicinity of however they're doing this into the way that they can trap it. So
interesting.
That's my guess. I have no clue. So I'll have to look into that a little more, but it sounds like a pretty cool idea.
Huh.
Unless they're creating earthquakes. large areas and not just like a local one.
Oh my god.
So Michael, this is
The
one question I
liquefaction's
was
an
just.
interesting one when you talk about houses. You don't want to hear my house one?
No, I do want to hear your house one.
Bad. Oh, where are you, Blake? We lost you for a sec.
Am I there
Oh, it's
now?
dead. His Wi-Fi's gone.
Yeah.
I can hear you guys. Can you not hear me?
Well, continue your story.
Okay, I'm gonna continue.
Yeah, we're here. We can hear you now.
Oh, you're just breaking up a lot. We can hear you now, though.
Let me move.
All right, continue your story, Nate,
locations.
about houses and liquefaction and earthquakes.
So, anyways, the liquefaction side was on a lot of times in houses, if they're built on a foundation where there is the ability for that liquid to move and like create this. It makes the ground softer. So if you have something heavy sitting on top of it and it shakes and it moves that ground out, it'll sink into that soil or to the. It's usually a lot of times a sand. Like sand is really thought of in that sense of things, and so it's not on bedrock or harder ground. So, anyways,
That seems like a bad thing for a house.
we're gonna to the jail podcast.
Well, like you said, we just have fun here. We just talk about whatever.
Oh, I know. But anyways, that's interesting with the natural gas side. So, are you back?
I'm back.
Okay, he's back.
Michael, this is a question I had for you that I don't know if you know necessarily, but I was just thinking about it. So if you're in like an airline, for example, and you're trying to hedge your just overall profits for the year, are you going to hedge oil on an options or a futures contract? Because I know they do that to offset the potential price down the road. But do you know, like, I guess I'm just trying to think through, do you know what they would use versus the other?
That's a great question. That's a great question. And I am not an expert by any means on this, but I was learning actually this weekend, trying to learn the difference between futures and options. And futures is exactly what that's built for. That's exactly what they're doing. Is like if they think, the price of, oil is lower, or they're worried it's going to be higher in the future, they're going to buy a futures contract right now that locks in the price, and they're going to pay a little bit of premium to lock in that price at a future date. And yeah, that's exactly. And it's not just airlines, it's farmers, corn, whatever their
Commodities.
their commodity
a lot
is.
of commodities
Yeah.
are future contracts.
And so futures contracts are not just for degens like us who are just trying to, make money because it's fun. And we like charts and numbers, but the reason they're there is for, big business and commodities specifically to exactly limit your risk to, oil prices. And I think Southwest did that a while back. I think Southwest was ahead of everyone because they had more oil, and I'm assuming it was oil in form of futures contracts, most likely.
I'll say American Airlines. You love gaps, Michael. There's a gap it has to fill.
Oh,
it hasn't filled that gap. It tried to in this little double top area. It tried to, but never made it. So we're gonna get futures contract. I don't think you do futures on American Airlines.
No,
commodity.
Futures are more commodities.
So how do I leverage the leverage then? I'm a degen. So what do I do here?
Leverage. We could come up with something.
Oh,
maybe let's just do simple leverage.
Actually, I know exactly what you do. I'm sure they have like a triple like leveraged stock that's only airlines.
There's probably an ETF that's
and
triple
then
leverage.
you can get options
on
that. There you
go.
See?
Yeah, you can do that.
We'll get to 100x leverage somehow, some way.
There you go.
Just kidding. Kids, stay away from leverage. Leverage is the fastest way to lose all your money.
Yeah.
I mean, well, that's the biggest thing we see with all these, exchanges going down and stuff. They're over leveraging super volatile assets, and then it comes around and bites them in the butt.
Then they're leveraging assets they don't even have. I mean,
yes, they're leveraging customer assets.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you're not supposed to touch those things. Like, okay, well, that's not actually your asset, by the way.
Yeah.
So, AKA FTX.
Yep.
And everybody else. I mean, that's what we're seeing this whole entire dip down.
Yeah.
These rips were just, oh yeah, by the way, we were sending your funds to other people. Congratulations. But I mean, banks do that all the time. They don't hold your funds. We've talked about that before. Go ask for your money from the bank. So
but they at least
It-
follow tighter rules as far as how much they can leverage, essentially. which
Tighter
I
rules.
think that's the
Right.
issue.
Mhm.
Did you see what FTX? So FTX came out and called for all politicians that received.
Yeah.
They're like all that money needs to be returned by like this date. Like any money contributed to politicians, because they're like, that's straight consumer funds, and we have to, pay our debts.
So question is, FTX asked for that?
So here's let's see this article. FTX and its affiliated debtors have sent confidential letters asking politicians, PACs, and other recipients of funds to return donations made by the crypto exchange. The recipients are being asked to return donations or potentially face repercussions by the now bankrupt exchange, according to a Sunday statement from FTX. The group, self-dubbed FTX debtors, did not disclose which parties were involved, but blah blah blah. So that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, because that money's
you were breaking
spent.
up, but
Yeah. But I think the gist of it was that it ever happened. Have you ever heard of that happening?
No. And I would be incredibly surprised if a government official gave money back.
Right.
Well, yeah, because isn't that money
This,
spent?
yeah, go ahead.
For sure.
No, I don't think they spend it like immediately. They've always got a coffer full of money, so they're always getting donations from other people and stuff. So, I mean, they would have. It's not like they just run their bank accounts to zero at all times. So,
Yeah, that's true.
Just kind of want to push forward with kind of the narrative of what we're looking at, just so we can. We all have things we have to do today, so it's just kind of a quick overview of markets. And like I said, for me, I'm sitting in a position to where I am still long. And when I say long, I'm a spot long, and pushing forward with the fact that I think this bounce has a lot more legs to it than what we've just seen.
Yeah.
I think we're seeing the potential of, this 31 range, 30K range, which you can see over here is going to be your next set of resistance in this, consolidation over here on the left. But it doesn't have to do it in a day, right? And then I think we see some potential movement in this area before we start to see ourselves move back up. I think we have the ability again by the end of the year to see, close to, and I shouldn't say by the end of the year or sometime during this year, lower the 38K, so high 30s, low 40s as a high.
Yeah, that's very doable.
Oh, for sure, dude. Like the bears get so like excited, and it's the same way with people that are, bulls in the bull run, right?
Yeah.
In this area over here, everybody's calling for 100K. Everybody over here is calling for 100K, right? It's the same way with bears down here. They're calling for 12K, right? And they get louder the closer it gets. But in the reality is, like, you don't go from this move right here to 12K.
Right.
Okay. So there's unless there's some other extenuating circumstances that come out in the markets, the move here is to follow the trend, and the trend in most recent times, the last few weeks, is up. And so sticking with that trend, I'm still there. I still think we got some movement. It's got some play left. So
we probably got 15 minutes max. Do you maybe want to hit like a few crypto charts, like maybe AVAX, Magic, Mana?
Well, obviously I'm going to look at Magic.
Yeah,
that's I've been talking about Magic for couple months now. December, we got our first article out there. I think November is when we first started really looking at it, and it's made a nice run. It's sitting in the $2 range. And it again, it's had some, I don't know, that's a decent move down from this last high over here. And this is where everybody was freaking out. Like, I mean, that's a 20% move, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's an altcoin, so it's going to have higher moves, but these altcoins can go crazy as well. I still like Magic. Again, everything that's not Bitcoin and Ethereum, realistically, maybe some of your higher layer ones like Sol or something on those lines, they're all going to move with Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin and Ethereum is going to be the one that's going to decide what's going to happen here. So if Bitcoin continues to move up, everything's going to kind of be in that same boat, right? And I think we're still in the move up. So still think Magic is a good play. I still think we're going to see some movement in that direction. Mana we really liked. I only got a little bit of a into Mana when we were here. I didn't get mine filled. We were looking at this kind of consolidation triangle at the top here. It's moved back up. It's kind of sitting in
It's kind of a weird
spot.
chart.
I'm out of it right now. I moved out of it when it got to that 75 range, I think.
Yeah.
Because it been kind of teetered up and down, but I was in at like 63, and I was like, I'm just gonna take that. And
Yeah, nice.
I don't know, they're just not really doing anything from what I'm seeing. Like Decentraland is a really cool product, and the utility is really built on the individuals that are utilizing it. I mean, it's kind of, you can make it as cool as you want it to be, but I think until we see some more of mass adoption using Decentraland, we're not gonna, I don't know how we see another big push up. I don't know what they're doing, I guess.
I'm kind of in the same boat. I think Matic has a lot more use case with it. A lot of games are moving to Matic. A lot of NFTs are moving to Matic. Even outside of the scams, which all scams are on Matic, it seems like. But I mean, it's moving strong. It's got its. They're all going to look fairly similar when we look at these altcoins, right?
Yeah.
Matic we liked. Again, it's got a lot of use cases that are going with it. There's a lot of rumors about Disney using Matic. They're all rumors, right? And when we talk about one of the biggest rumors that's out there right now, not necessarily a rumor because they've already came out and said that they're going to be using AVAX, which is Amazon. But they also said that Amazon's going to be doing Web3 games. And so I'm assuming if they're using AVAX, and the other part with AVAX is AVAX has been pushing them being a gaming chain as well. So it would make sense. There hasn't been official announcements or anything, but if you talk about a big play, if that is the actual, use, or I should say the actual thing that's going to happen with Amazon, I mean, that's a pretty big play. And again, looks very similar. You've had this long downtrend, consolidation, moving up and just waiting for the macros to make their decision. So I think the last one I want to touch on before we roll here is your top signals, right? Your top signals are going to be your meme coins, right? And what better meme coin is there than Doge? Obviously, Sheeb. Everybody loves Sheeb. We'll look at that here in a second. But we were talking about Doge right at the top of this triangle, and it's kind of moved and brought itself right back down to it. And this isn't a move of a meme coin. This is, if you see something like this, right? Coming off of, and usually what's going to happen is you're going to see your other tokens, your macros, your Bitcoins, your Ethereums, your larger market caps are going to move, and then your meme coins are going to come through and do their thing, right? So when you start to see it, 2-3x in a short time frame in less than a week on your meme coins, that's when you look at, okay, money's moving into those. It's time to start to kind of take some stuff off the table. A lot of times, not every time, but a lot of times. And Sheeb, isn't Sheeb traded on Robinhood?
I'm not sure. I can check.
I know it was at one point at least.
Is it Shiba Inu? What is the? Oh, it's Sheeb. So, and again, so we're daily here. Again, this isn't the move of a degenerate meme coin, right? Again, you want to see
Sheeb is on Robinhood.
It is on Robinhood. Yeah. So, this is your degenerate move, right? That's your degenerate move. So when you see Sheeb go and do something like this, that's when it's time to that's a 700% move.
Jeez. Yeah. So
now in the pattern wise, it's a nice little pattern sitting in a spot where, take a stab at it. Might be a fun play for this move, especially when we talk about the part of the cycle that we're in. If we get Bitcoin and Ethereum and everything to start to move to their next levels over the next, few weeks here, and then you start to see these meme coins follow, but when they follow, they rip through, right?
Yeah.
And liquidity is moving from one place to another. So we'll watch that. We'll keep you guys updated. So anyways, we're gonna end this here.
Yeah.
And you guys enjoy your day. And remember, leverage is bad.
Yeah. Be careful.
We don't want you guys to lose your money. So
Be careful.
be careful and have fun.
Mama,